It took me over 10 years to work this out, and in this short video, I'm going to explain to you 3 things on why you probably aren't making sales on your website, you're not making enough sales, and if you understand what I'm going to talk about, you'll most likely make a lot more sales. Now, if you aren't one of the 10,000 people that follow me or the 600 clients we've had, my name's Clayton Bates. I'm one of the only people ever to be registered and authenticated as a Shopify expert by Shopify that makes videos on YouTube. A lot of people say they're Shopify experts. I actually am one, and I was the #1 ranked Shopify expert in Australia for 2 years in a row. The websites we've built have helped generate over $200 million through Shopify, and most likely it's over like $500 million that I've helped generate on Shopify. I'm not just some guy who put together a store, made $10,000, and now talks about it online. So that being said, let's jump into the 3 key things you need to know to make more money on your Shopify website. All right, so number 1 is how your website flows and works. Now, there's 5 steps underneath this that I'm going to walk you through, but I just want to go over some revenue stats so you can understand what the potential of the money you might be actually losing by not following these steps right now. All right, so the lost revenue. So basically, this is pretty self explains itself. So if you have a 1% conversion rate and you're making $10,000 a month, if your conversion rate was 2%, you'd make 20,000. If it was 3%, you'd make 30,000. So if your conversion rate is 1% right now and you're making $10,000 a month, you're literally losing $20,000 a month if you don't have a 3% conversion rate. One of our clients, we actually rebuilt their website and they made an extra $25,000 in 1 week. Think of that for a second. An extra $25,000 in 1 week. Now, they hadn't updated their website for quite a few years. And this is the issue that people don't understand is that you might have spent money on a website. You might have done this. You might have done that. You might be going okay. Maybe you're making millions of dollars a year, but you're not updating your website. You're not fixing the flow. You're not fixing the design and stuff like that. And it's literally costing you so much money. Another one of our clients was making £1 million a year. We rebuilt the website and it went from £1 million a year to £3 million a year. Probably £1 million was because of the website we built. So they were literally losing £1 million a year. And this, people don't really understand or think about this. And then the average order value, if you're making 100 orders, 10,000 average order value is 100, 10,000 a month. If your average order value is 200, you now make $20,000 a month. Returning customer rate, if it's 25%, 10K. If you make it 50%, returning customer rate, you're now making 20K. So if you're making $10,000 a month, you're probably losing $40,000 a month on $10,000 a month. That is insane. Now, it all depends on different circumstances and things like that, but I just want to crank the numbers and sort of show you what the potential of this is. All right, so the first thing is the homepage optimization. Now, a lot of people, they don't really think about their homepage very well. And like I sort of said, if you want a free video review of your website, there's a link below where I'll go through these 5 things on your website and explain exactly what you're doing wrong, and it's completely free. If you haven't built a website yet, I also have a free community that teaches you how to do it on school, link below. So one of the things is like you might have a poor layout, there's missing trust and connection. What I normally like to tell people is you want to give someone a good feeling, showcase the products, the prices, build trust, build a connection, and flow this page. Now, it's hard to 100% say how you should build a homepage because one person might be watching this video and they have one product, the next person has 10, the next person has 1,000, the next person has 70,000. We actually worked on a website with 70,000 products. That's crazy. My old website used to have 10,000. So yeah, it really depends on how many products you have, how you structure it. But if you keep to those things that I just said, you can build out a really nice homepage. Now, the second thing is your product page. Now, I've just put a smiley face over the business's name. But basically what you want to do here is you want to have all the information about a product, you want to build trust, and you want to benefits of the product. So if you see on this product, we have the name, we have some reviews, afterpay, low in stock, ready to ship, free shipping within Australia, 30-day money back guarantee, PayPal breakdown, snippet reviews where you can click through. I really like Luke's reviews. I'll leave a link below. I've made heaps of videos about it. I personally think it's the best review app that you can use. If you're making over $1,000 a month, the $13 USD a month that you pay for that app will easily pay for itself, because the app will email the customer to leave a review after X amount of days. They'll come back if they've had a good experience, leave a review on your website, and guess what? They're back on your website and they might buy something again. And the app tracks all that. So normally if you pay like $13 a month, over $1,000 a month, you'll easily make that money back. Now down here, I don't always have trust badges like this, but we put some key things about their business here, then a quick little description here. If you go to their website, they also have dynamic product tabs, shipping tab, returns tab, you must like, video reviews from their customers, a GIF, a little bit of their story, things like that, you must like. So it's sort of built out, sticky add to cart button. So when they actually scroll down the page, they can add to cart anywhere on their website. So these are like really key things that you can do on your website, sort of thing. And a lot of people overlook how important your product page is. Now, this website is in skincare. You have to build a lot more trust in skincare. Maybe if you have like a $20 little product that you don't really have to explain, you don't have to build all this trust. A couple of little things that you can think about. If you've shipped 10,000 orders out, have a wall point, 10,000 orders shipped. One of our clients, I think they shipped 50,000 orders, and we put 50,000 orders shipped. When people read 50,000 orders shipped, it's going to do something in their brain. If you have over 1,000 reviews, you can do stuff like that. There's heaps of different little things that build trust there. Now, the third mistake is the navigation. A lot of people really get the navigation wrong. You want to make it super easy for someone to find what they're looking for. So going back to the homepage, then the main menu, the footer, the filtering system, all of these things contribute to making it easy for someone to find what they're looking for. Even on the product page, having like dynamic tabs and not having a crazy product description makes it easy for someone to find what they're looking for. Everything we're trying to make it easy for them to find what they're looking for. The example screenshot I have here, they have a large inventory, they have a big search bar. Now, if you have one product, you don't really need a search bar. So it really depends. One little ninja hack here, the main menu on a desktop, you normally want to keep it simple. This has a large main menu, but most websites, you just want to keep it simple on desktop. Home, shop, about, maybe support, have some drop downs. Easy. And then really build it out on a mobile. The one thing that sucks is that a lot of theme templates don't have the option to actually do that. We normally will code it in. So it's really good for user experience. Then the other thing that a lot of people forget is they don't really build out their footer, and a lot of people scroll into their footer. So if you really build out your footer menus, like I said, free video review, I'll teach you exactly how to do your footer, your menus in your website. Because it's hard to 100% say how you should do it. But if you submit that, I'll send that over. All right, so the fourth mistake is consistency in the checkout. Now, I never realized how important this was 7 years ago when I started out. My old website even failed at what I'm just going to say to you right now. And I probably lost tens of thousands of dollars from not doing this. So 7 years ago, someone did a post in the Shopify community forum. They had one of the best websites I'd seen someone post in there, and they couldn't make any sales. They had traffic and stuff. And I was like, this don't make sense. And everyone's like, oh, it's this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they never went through the website. So I set on a mission to be like, I'm going to work this out. I went through their whole website, got to the checkout. Their background color on their website was black. They had a white and orange logo. And then when you got to the checkout, there was no logo, white, black background, a different color button. Now, if you're about to pay $300 or $400, it's going to feel super weird when you get to the checkout and it don't look like the rest of your website. This is super, super important that you add your logo, you add your colors into the checkout. A lot of people forget this because one of the things about Shopify is that the color options and the logo option is in a different section for this page over the colors for your theme or your website. So a lot of people forget this. You can even add this in your email notifications as well. So this is really, really important that you do this. Probably 5 to 20% of people will leave if you don't do this. All right, so the fifth one is mobile optimization. Most websites will get 50 to 90% of their traffic on a mobile phone. So you really need to build out your website very well on a mobile phone. Now, one thing that I thought about really hard a few years ago is that I was building a website for a client and it looked amazing on a mobile phone. It was so good on a mobile phone, right? But it had some issues on a desktop. There's a couple of things that didn't really look the best on a desktop, right? And this was when I was sort of starting out. I think it was 5-6 years ago. Now, they were a little bit upset about the desktop version. And, I don't blame them. They paid money for me to build their website. And the thing that I couldn't understand is that they got 97% of their traffic on a mobile phone. So the things that looked a bit weird on a desktop basically made no sense to fix because 97% of their traffic was a mobile. Now, most likely, you're going to probably have 60-70% traffic mobile. That was very high. But I think what happens and why I thought about this a lot is if you're building your website, you're probably sitting at a desk like I am right now, working on your business on desktop view. So you're actually updating your website, fixing on a desktop and not really thinking about mobile. And mobile is so, so important. Back when I used to have my website like 10 years ago, there used to be higher traffic on desktop. You actually used to get more traffic on desktop. Now it's completely switched where most of our clients are getting 60, 70, 80% traffic mobile. So you really have to be looking at it on your phone, different things like that. If you want me to make a video about how I test different things on mobiles and stuff like that, let me know in the comments because this one is really important. Now, obviously, there's heaps of other little things. There's probably like 100 other little things, but if you can try to nail these 5 things, the homepage, the product page, site navigation, checkout, and mobile optimization, you're going to be on the road and the path to increase your conversion rate, average order value, different things like that. Super, super important. All right, so the next one is the type of traffic matters. Now, if you're getting tens of thousands of people to your website and not making any sales, it's probably the wrong people going to the website. And a lot of people don't really understand this. And I'm going to do like a hypothetical little thing, and show you an example of something in a different way. So recently, I just went to a school meetup in London and in Berlin, and this one was in Bournemouth in the UK. And basically, there was probably over 100 people in these 3 events that I flew. I'm from Australia. I flew to 2 other countries to go to these. Now, over 100 people, and I'm pretty confident that not one single person there, or maybe one person, it made sense to work with my agency. But I went there for a different reason. So imagine you're sending this 100 people to your product and none of them want the product. It don't make sense. Like, they're not going to buy something that they don't want. It's like that, sell me this pen. Have I got a pen here? Sell me this pen. Or sell me this water. Like, are you thirsty? No. Well, if they're in the heat and they're dying of thirst, they're going to take the water. They'll do anything for the water. But if you're the wrong people are going there, you're not going to sell anything. And this is what a lot of people don't understand, right? So they'll look at their conversion rate and they'll be like, all right, it's 1%, right? This is a great example of what's happened to one of our clients, or a few of our clients now. So they'll look at their conversion and be like, all right, 1%, but everyone on the internet says you should have 3 to 6% conversion rate, right? And then you start to dive into things, right? They're an Australian brand. They only sell in Australia. Their conversion rate is 1%. They're getting 10,000 people to their website a month. All right, great. Should it be higher? You'd think, yeah, it should. Over 5,000 people were coming to their website a month from the US, and they only sell to Australia. So realistically, if you take the 5,000 people off, their conversion rate is actually 2%, not 1%. And people look at a screen, look at the analytics, and they don't really dive in and think about that sort of stuff. Now, on other people's websites, what's happened before as well is that thousands and thousands of people from like India have been going to their website every single month and they don't sell to India. And it's like, you look at the analytics and you think it's bad, but it's better than what you think. And then the other thing too is like, if you have a product that's like $3,000 and you're going on YouTube, this is the issue of YouTube sometimes as well. And people are like, the conversion rate should be 3 to 5% or 3 to 10% or all this stuff like that, right? Your product's $3,000. You're probably not going to have a 10% conversion rate. And I'm going to talk about a 50% conversion rate in a second. But basically, if your conversion is like 0.5%, so this happens in tool industry a lot, right? And different things like that, car parts and all that sort of stuff, right? Let's just say a website has 0.5% conversion, right? Which is pretty low, but they sell pretty expensive things, right? Now, think about this, right? You're making 50,000 a month. Your conversion rate's 0.5%. You rebuild the website or fix up the website, it goes to 1%. Now you make $50,000 extra a month. Do you think people are going to complain about that when they go from 0.5% to 1%? Now, if you're only making $500 a month and you were 0.5% and went to 1%, you're only making $500. It's nothing, basically. So everything really depends on the product, the type of traffic, all this different stuff when people are coming here. And the other thing too is I once worked with someone with a 50% conversion rate. 50% conversion rate. Do you know how insane a 50% conversion rate is? And you're probably like, whoa, 50%. That's really cool. No, that is very, very bad. 50% conversion rate is very, very bad. And if you can understand this, why? I'll let you think about it for a second. Why would a 50% conversion rate be bad? All right, this is what was happening. This is why they were getting a 50% conversion rate. And you know what's funny? When we rebuilt the website, 4 months later, their conversion rate was 8%. So we rebuilt their website, their conversion rate went from 50% to 8%. And do you know why this was good? All right, you ready for this? They were going to the markets every weekend, and every single person that went to their website was someone they spoke to at the markets. Think about that. Every single person that they went to their website, they had spoke to in real life, and they could see their passion and stuff like that, right? So naturally, when people are going to the website, they're going to be really like warm traffic, right? Super highly likely to convert in a customer, right? They were making $500 a month, 50% conversion rate, $500 a month, right? We rebuilt their website. It went down to 8%, but now they make $6,000 a month, $6,000. So if you think of it at face value, one person's 50%, one person's 8%, you would instantly think 50% was good. But what's happened now, we optimize everything for SEO. All their products are ranking super high on Google. So heaps more people are coming to the website and buying stuff. So now they're like 12x their business. But when you don't understand these things, you don't really think about these things. So this is why I always go back to the type of traffic really matters. All right, so number 3 is branding, message, images, logo, and color. Now, I spelt color 2 different ways because I know there's going to be someone in the comments that's like, you spelled color wrong, but they don't realize that color is spelled different in different countries. So that's why I did that. Basically, people don't understand like the type of images on their website, the type of colors in their logo, the type of message they're getting across has such a massive impact on their business. So for example, with your logo, right, and your colors, there's a lot of psychology around colors. And if you look at big businesses, there's reasons they picked colors. Now, I'm not going to go heaps into the color. If you want me to make another video about that, let me know in the comments below and I'll do that. But basically, here's a good example. My business, Inspire Small Business, the logo is blue. Now, originally it was green for the first 6 months. And then when I started to really understand this about colors and messaging, I changed it to blue because blue represents trust. For example, PayPal has blue because they have your money and they want you to trust them with your money. ANZ Bank in Australia, people might not know about that, but it's blue as well. So some banks are blue because it's about building trust, and that color builds a lot of trust. And that's why I changed it as well. So let's just say you're like a bank, and then you have like orange or yellow or something. Can people do that? Yeah, sure. But is it going to make a massive impact sometimes? No. But there's a lot of reasons behind why people do the colors and things like that. The other one is the images, and so many people don't understand this. So, like 6 years ago, I built this website where someone come to me and they had amazing images, like so good the images were, and it was so fun to make the website, right? And I thought I'd built this amazing website. So the next 5 websites that were in the same niche, I built same structure, and they didn't look nothing like that other website. Because think about this, right? Person number one takes selfies in a mirror. Person number two spends $50,000 a year on images. Now, do you think there's going to be a big difference between a selfie in the mirror and $50,000 in images? Yes. It's going to make a massive difference on your website. So let's just say you have a t-shirt and the t-shirt's $50 and you do a selfie in the mirror. Yeah, no worries. It's going to be hard to sell that shirt for $300 if it's a selfie in the mirror. But when you spend $50,000 on a photo shoots for the year and it's like amazing images, it's going to be a lot easier to sell that $300 t-shirt because people want to envision themselves in the product. There's so many different things around the images, right? If someone wants to feel beautiful, if they want to feel sexy or whatever, right? And they see this nice, beautiful model or something like that, looking sexy, looking whatever, it's going to help them envision themselves like that, right? And it depends what people are going for and what they're looking for. That don't make sense in some niches. Sometimes that don't make sense in fashion. Like sometimes you don't want like supermodels and stuff in your images. It really depends on your brand and your messaging. So it really depends who you're speaking to, right? If you're speaking to like dads that are like 60 and you've got like supermodel guys that are like 20, don't really make sense, or maybe it does in some niches, but the messaging and what you're trying to do with your branding really makes a big thing. And that's why I put all these into one category, like branding, messaging, images, logo, colors. A lot of people get this wrong. It's a key thing around your business that you want to get right. And like I said earlier in the video, if you want a free video review of your website, going over tips and suggestions on all these subjects, there's a link below. And if you don't have a website, there's also a link below to a free school community where you can learn how to do this all completely free. All right, so now before I get into this quick thank you, I just want you to sort of understand this like pyramid of the 3 things that matter: how your website flows and works, the type of traffic, branding, message, images, logo, colors. It's like this triangle, right? And each 3 of them are a point on the triangle, right? Let's just say you have a website that flows really well. You're getting the right type of traffic, but your colors are wrong. Your images are selfies in the mirror. All this sort of, your message is way off. It's going to massively impact your website. Now, let's say you have amazing branding, amazing images, great traffic, but your website doesn't flow and it doesn't work right. It's going to really impact your website. Now, if your website flows and works well, it's got really good images and stuff like that, but the traffic sucks, guess what? It's really going to impact your website. So that's why these things are the 3 really, really important things on building a website that converts people like visitors into paying customers. And so many people get these 3 things wrong. So many people don't understand these 3 things. And a lot of people might have one of these things or 2 of these things, but they don't have all 3 of them. And when it's a triangle like that, if you have all 3 things, it sort of works like in a circle, a flywheel. It builds more and more momentum and goes faster and faster and faster. And if you notice some of the businesses that go super well, they have nailed these 3 things. And it feels like they're like overnight successes, but they really nailed these three things. And it's super important to do that. So thanks for watching this. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, let me know in the comments. I appreciate you watching this far. Like, subscribe if you haven't, that would be much appreciated. And like I always say, pretty much anything is possible when you put your mind to it. What are you going to put your mind to? Thanks for watching. Ciao.